What would we be saying to the world? That Europe is taking to court a state because it doesn't allow them to vote, a practice that in Sudan, in Africa, is done with no problems, and in other parts of the world. I mean, I don't think European institutions, I don't think that people with a well-constructed mind will allow the Spanish state to make such a fuss of the whole European values. I mean, it will be a little bit farcical. I think that uh, before that happens, the Spanish state will actually come to reason and sit down and basically agree that the Catalans has voted, and that's the result. And if the result is yes, that we want independence, then it's a question of dealing with the papers, with the bureaucracy. So Catalonia exists in the papers, the official papers, and also then I guess Spain has to do the internal process inside Spain and undo the damage that they have made. Because a lot of the time in the Spanish state, they explain things of Catalan history or of Catalan present, which is a laugh. So they have a lot of work on that, on resituating their relationship with Catalans as well with the Basques, and then realize and make sure Spanish people, which we have a lot of friends in Spain, and we don't want anything back to Spain, and we will do all the possible as a Catalan independent state to help whatever is necessary and to collaborate. They will actually make sure people understand that an independence, or that the Catalonia is independent, is not such a big deal in terms of we don't go anywhere. We're still going to be there. The trains are going to be here. The telephone communication is going to be here. I would even say more. With independence of Catalonia, it's not only a benefit for Catalonia, but also for Spain and also for Europe, but also for Spain, because finally, Spanish would be united, because I understand it has to be very annoying to be part of a state where millions of citizens don't love that country as their country, and they don't want to be there.
I think
It has to be very annoying.
you'd find the same situation in Britain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good for them, and not only in all walks of life, in all aspects, but as well in this sense of finally to be part of a state where everybody wants to be part of that state, and finally is a one united Spanish state, because with Catalans inside and Basques inside, and if Galicians take the same route, Galicians inside the Spanish state, Spain, we will never be united and happy and in peace with themselves, because we are always will be battling, because it's a question of justice and dignity, to stop being a nation that we always have to be defending ourselves from their attacks, because it's like this. It sounds amazing, but it's like this. We are constantly suffering the griefs of the Spanish state, not only on the economics, which we do, a constant plundering of our taxes year after year after year, but it's not about money. It's about the attacking that we have, the grief with our language. For God's sake, how a nation can still have to be battling about language, something that everybody understands is essential for human beings. We are millions of people speaking Catalan, more actually than other countries in Europe. And Spain bans constantly this our language in Europe, and it makes it very difficult for us in our own country. Where about sport, we are living a recentralization to Madrid again, also with the sport arena, where now all the sporting, Catalonia is big in sports. We're very sporting in this sense. And now all the sport people in Catalonia they don't want us to federate in our Catalan federation. Now everything you have to federate in the Spanish federation and pay there the taxes. So obviously this cuts a lot of room to maneuver and to compete, etc. Infrastructures, I mean, it would be an endless list of griefs that we live as Catalans inside the Spanish state. So all of us, we're going to be much happier, and from freedom, I'm sure we're going to have a more productive and loving relationship.
Can I just ask a couple of questions on the subject of Spain itself? Is there a prospect, if there's a change in the Spanish government, are all of the parties equally against Catalan independence, or are some of them more favourable to Catalonia? And secondly, I noticed you were very careful to say the Spanish state. Do you think the Spanish state has a very big difference of opinion than what ordinary Spanish people do? Maybe ordinary Spanish people are more supportive of independence, or do they tend to follow what the Spanish government thinks?
Yes, and this is very typical, but actually I'm happy that you made me this question, because we were actually very well surprised or happy. I don't know, we have mixed feelings sometimes relating with Spain, but it's true that there was a poll. Cannot really now remember from where, but there was an important poll, significant poll in Spain, in which 47% of Spanish citizens were in favor that Catalonia holds a referendum, which at least it's nice to know that there's people in Spain that understands democracy and understand these things. So, referring to the governments, yes, we are careful and we keep saying Spanish state and not as much as Spain, because there actually has never been a difference on attitude and political practice from one government to the other government. And no political party in Spain big enough to count in the parliament is in favor of the independence of Catalonia. I mean, not with representation. Maybe there's a small political party that we don't know of, maybe, but no, none of them, not even the left wings, which you would think, well, they understand the peoples and the freedom. Right, it would go more on their line. Mm-hmm. Well, no. they don't support the independence of Catalonia, and some of the left parties don't even support this referendum that we are about to do the 9th of November, which shows the endogamy or the casuistic, how the Spanish state has lived his history and how they understand now in the present democracy and universal rights, and this makes a difference maybe with other countries in Europe. Spain, or this Spain of today, this Spanish state is a winner of a war, and maybe was not that helped by the states as other European countries. I mean, there's quite a lot to analyze, what's going on and why Spain has this attitude. But unfortunately, there's no political party in Spain that is in favor of the independence of Catalonia.
Mm. Okay, and if we can just move on a little bit. So there's going to be this referendum, and it's planning for the 9th of November. So it's going to be after the Scottish referendum. Do you think, so we talked earlier about, the Edinburgh Agreement with Salmond and Cameron. Do you think there is a real prospect of a Barcelona agreement before then? Do you think that's a real possibility?
Well, that only depends in the determination of Catalan political parties. If the Spanish state can perceive that the Catalan government would agree in something less, obviously this agreement will never happen. If the Catalan government and the different political parties, which give us a great majority, so we do have an absolute majority to take forward the referendum and celebrate it, are determined, and they say, no, we will put the ballot boxes, and if you have a problem, you come physically and you take them out. Obviously, we'll have here all the cameras and the media, so the world can see that. Obviously, that will not happen, and I don't believe a Spanish police will come to take out the ballot boxes. But I think I'm a great believer that that what happens or not in our nations, I very much about what we are determined or not to do. So if our government and our political parties are strong and determined, there will be an agreement with the Spanish state.
And do you think that, okay, obviously the Catalonian referendum will be a few weeks after the Scottish one. Do you think there's already a very strong majority in Catalonia and there'll be no Scottish effect to the referendum, whatever happens? Or do you think the fact that the Scottish one's happening before might have any kind of effect on the outcome in Catalonia?
Well, obviously, Catalans will be very happy or very disappointed, depending on your results, because of this solidarity, right? Yeah, I think that in Catalonia, we have been battling for 300 years, and now we verbalize very much our will, and we are big numbers, we are majorities here, and no, I don't think that it will have that impact in the Catalan referendum. We would have preferred to be before the Scottish referendum, not as much because we think that in Scotland can be a negative referendum. We don't think that, but because we think we are in a rush here in the terms of all the griefs that I explained before. So the earlier we start all the process to declare independence once we win the referendum, the better. But no, I don't think it will have it will change a Catalan result depending on the Scottish result.
Also with the referendum, I believe there's something unusual about the question that you're going to be asked. You know, the Scottish question is, do you agree that Scotland should be an independent country? What's it going to be in Catalonia?
Yes, well, hopefully we will end up with your question. But at the moment, the question that has been announced, it's a double question, which goes like this: is the first question is, do you want Catalonia to become a state? And if you say yes to this question, you can answer the second one, which is, would you want it to be independent? Obviously, it's not a direct, clear question, as the majority, well, all the social movements and many political parties wanted, which was your style of question. And there's another issue, and that is that with this double question, the ones that we want an independent state, we are obliged to answer yes to the first one, which is if we want a state, but with the detail or the curiosity that we don't really understand, we don't know what it means, a state. So we are obliged to vote yes to a limbo state, because what do you mean? What I'm voting yes to? What is a state? Yes, in order for them to vote yes to the independent state. But of course, the ones that they vote yes to the first state and no to the independent state, they know what it means, a state. So what we are asking is for a white paper that needs to be very, very comprehensive, so we understand what is that we are obliged to vote in the first yes. Because maybe a lot of us, we want an independent state, but we don't want a state if a state doesn't mean independent.
Yes.
So it's tricky, and we are not quite clear if it's even valid that you are obliged to vote one way or the other in order to vote yes to an independent state. And also imagine then the independent state wins, then the people that has voted no to the first state has not had the chance to vote yes to the independent state. So it's quite tricky, and the three answers also makes it difficult to have one of the options over the 50%. So altogether, that's why we think that maybe they announce it like this for political parties, strategies. And sorry, at the end, they will actually come to a